Okay, okay, great, great. Fantastic, fantastic. So just by way of getting everybody, because it's going to be highly interactive, it'll be nice to have people just drop in a comment as to what their expectation is, all right, or what expectations they have of this session, and then so maybe at some point we're able to mirror all of that. So can I have your expectations? What are your expectations? Drop it in the comment. Your expectations. What are your expectations? Expectations, please. Expectations. All right. What are your expectations? What are your expectations? Okay, so I also like to, somehow, my wife is also on this call. She's Barrister Adepoju. So she's coming in to just give some moral support. Elizabeth says to find my strengths and know how to use it. Awesome. Okay, so I'm thinking that will be achieved in the course of this interactive session. Anybody wants to give a go? Yes, Rachel says to learn how to play right with my strengths. Amazing. I love the flow of that. Yes, we expect to gain insights on strategy. Whoa, okay, that's my thought. All right, Abdul. All right, you are taking me on now. Great, great, great. Okay, so one more and then we kick off this session. Okay, Amina, whoa, to get to understand my strength and know the best way to use it to grow my business. Awesome. Okay, so we'll move swiftly now. One of the things I also like to achieve, which I'll beg of you, once we're done with this session, I'd like us to have what we call a group photograph, a group virtual photograph. So all of you that needs to put on your wigs, please ensure you do that. Yeah, put on your wigs. And then those that need to, have their powders on and all of that, let's get this going. Let's get this going. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about playing to your strengths. And, as a startup specialist, one of the key advantages that you have with me is that I'm able to help you start, all right? And I love what Elizabeth said about starting. That seems to be one of the most difficult things to embark on. And reason why people lack the ability to start is because they probably are confused. There's no clarity and there's no guided roadmap. But as soon as, there seems to be some semblance of order and clarity, it's easier to navigate. And so I help people start their journeys towards their personal fulfillment, towards their profit goals, and then also in line with purpose. Okay, now having said that, my profile, at the end of the day, you could always check that out. But let's go on now to say the thoughts for today. I premise the thoughts for today on this quote. All right, that says success is not the key to happiness. All right, happiness is the key to success. If you love what you're doing, you will be successful. Okay, so like I want this class to be really very interactive. So is there anyone that wants to give a go at interpreting or giving their perspective as to what these thoughts are, is? Is there anyone, do we have any? I'm sure this is like your unusual session, all right? But it would be nice to have, if there's anybody that wants to give a go at, Fosa, do you want to throw light on this quote, all right, by Albert? Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what you're doing, you will be successful. Do I have anyone that is willing to volunteer? Let's make it interactive. Anyone, please. Okay. Okay. If there's no one, let's proceed. So success is not the key to happiness. The underlining word is happiness. All right. What then is happiness? So because in the life that we're in, people have misconstrued what happiness is and what success isn't. All right. So for some, people measure success by the material resources or gains. Some people measure success by, fulfillment, or either in marriage or getting a wonderful job. So for some, it's success in attaining their academic feats. But one thing that is key, which is a key element of success, is, all right, happiness. Happiness is the key to success. So if there's anything you're doing, irrespective of how the standards of measurement are, you must understand that happiness is essential. Happiness is essential. Okay, so I'm just going to run now, and I'm going to be saying, look, I'm sure there are people here, and considering the demography of this audience, there are people that have plans, have goals, have aspirations. And so there's this thing, who can predict the future? Okay, there seems to be a Frenchman trying to interpret or something. All right. Okay, so who can predict the future? Yeah, you might not be able to predict the future, but you can at least prepare and plan for a desirable future. And there are four basic elements, which I've highlighted even in my presentation. And this is based on extensive study I've done over time across countries, across demographies, even across even companies. And I realized that these four cardinals are, they are precursor, is a precursor, to experiencing the desirable future that One is education, and I'm not talking about education per se, as to I'm going to Harvard, or I've gone to Penn, I'm at Penn, or I'm at Cambridge or Oxford, or I'm at any of those Kwame Nkrumah University or whatever it is. I'm talking about education from the point of view of what you love to do. So if you love to paint, if you love to draw, if you love to dance, if you love to write, if you love to counsel, if you love to move up in your career, whatever it is that you're doing, you must have the education of what you call the education. All right, that's one. And that is one of the precursors to experiencing the desirable future that you desire. The second thing is experience. Experience is key. Experience is what you gather by the application of the education of that education. And I'm going to put it this way. So if you've learned how, if you desire to dance, and you've learned how to dance, and you keep learning how to dance, because learning is a continuous thing, then you start to think about the experience of the experience. I think my charger seems to be okay. Is this socket on? I doubt it. Okay, so anyway, please flow with me. Do you want to help me this socket? So the third thing, sorry about that. I'm having a glitch with my power supply, and I don't know why that is happening. But I'm here. So let's results. Okay, so exposure. The third one is exposure. Exposure is critical in the sense that you might know how to dance, but if you've not seen where others are dancing, if you've not played in an international or in a local or even a national level, you might be operating at the level of mediocrity. So it's essential that you own yourself with the ability to dance, all right, to dance notwithstanding, with the exposure you get from your environment. And then the fourth is environment. So, and they're closely tied. So there's the external and internal environment. The external environment is as to your immediate environment. Okay, so what really goes on with your immediate environment? Is this being sorted? Immediate environment. And then there is the element around the external environment. the external and internal environment. The internal environment is the state of your mind, the state of your heart, and what you are already doing. And so it's what are you feeding your mind with? What journeys or what things are you getting imbued with? So that defines the environment internally, and then there is the external environment, which your immediate environment. But how have you made your environment, conducive to attaining whatever feat you want to attain? Knowing, and I don't know if we have anybody that is in the space around the metaphysics. All right, so there are vibrations and elements of sound. All right, sound, vibrations, but I don't want to talk about that energy today. So your environment is key. If you tune your environment right, it's going to set you up for greatness. So what's coming up today? We're going to be playing a bit around the strengths theory, and then talking about the clues to strengths. We're going to move on in that order. Examine your strengths, the nurturing strengths, and what about weaknesses? Because when people say, "Oh, you've been talking about strengths," okay, so what about weaknesses? Okay, so straight on to the theory about strengths. And I don't know if anyone has come across a quote which is been credited to Albert Einstein, but somehow it various things around that if every to climb a tree could be seen as suicidal. And so if you have a fish, no matter the school the fish has attained or aspired to attend, if that fish is trying to climb a tree, there's something that is clear. That fish is set up for suicide, or rather for death. That's almost like a death sentence. So the philosophy around strength also talks around that there are five, great, that there are five, so within the fish environment, you have the salty water fish, the freshwater fish, the shallow water fish, the deep water fish, and all kinds of fish in their terrain. The moment a fresh water fish goes into the terrain of the salty water fish, and I need you guys to, this is like a background, it's going to suffocate, it's going to die. And so ultimately, we have a lot of people that have lived their lives on experimentation, and they are not playing to strengths. So from the school of thought that I come from, in view of positive psychology, I ventured into that element around the Gallup strengths philosophy. And even though there is a lot of thoughts around the strength philosophy, but the one I'm intuitively focused on is the Gallup strength philosophy. And it helps to, it guides individuals to via an assessment to know their strengths, So why must we know our strengths? Because, okay, we're talking about strengths. So unlike a car where people used to do trial and error, in this day and era, people go to a diagnostic center and they're able to find out what is wrong with the car. The same applies also for when you go into a clinic. You don't just get a pharmacist administer drugs to you. There must have been a check as to determining the state of your health. So why must we know our strengths? In knowing our strengths, we begin to take control of our life. When we know our strengths, we have authority. We have the control. Set to have that control, that grip over our life. When we know our strengths, it gives us maximum results. So if we're operating at the level of mediocrity, we are likely able to start to work at the level of exponential results. Why must we know our strengths? And I'm sure everybody is up on this. If you are following me, can you just say a yes now? Just one yes. If you are following me, and then let's know that I'm not just talking to myself, even though I enjoy listening to myself. If you are doing what you love, okay, great. Great. So, all right, all right. I love the energy I'm getting from this class. And I love what Abdul talked about. Partly agreeing with Albert that if you're doing what you love doing, it doesn't fetch you enough to cover your budget. Okay, so we'll get into that. We'll get into that. Knowing your strengths also avails you the ability to focus intently, all right, using what we call laser focus. It enables you to pierce through any wall. Also, knowing your strengths, it helps you create accountability, it motivates you, and it also helps you become the best that you can be. And finally, but not the least, knowing your strengths helps you live the best life. And I'm going to be very practical now. When I didn't know anything about my strengths, there was one of my key top 5 strengths, which made me have a lot of enemies. So irrespective of the knowledge I was willing to share, that particular strength, because I did not know how to use that strength, I abused that strength to the extent that it became a weakness of some sort. And so I always tell people, look, I've been through this journey, I've experienced what it takes to not know your strengths, and I now know what it takes to know your strength, and I know when to apply those strengths. And that it's like a tool. It's like a tool. But we're moving on to now. So like a stallion. So I talked about the Gallup methodology. It says that, so the Gallup approach is that why focus on what is wrong? Okay, what will happen if we studied what is right with people? So, one of the failures of the conventional paradigms is the fact that people focus on their weaknesses in a bid not to fail. All right? Whereas the strengths methodology, and defined by Gallup, is that focus on your strengths to succeed. So whereas the focus on weaknesses is in a bid not to fail or not to be seen as a failure, we are saying, can we change the lesson and begin to focus intently on aspects such that you can now be playing to succeed? This would help, to be more successful in life, because knowing your weaknesses and attempting to improve your weaknesses, or knowing your strengths, and playing to your strengths, you can answer that question. So if you focus on what you're not so good at, ultimately at some point, you'll always still be a mediocre. And that's what Don Clifton, the progenitor for the Gallup methodology, advanced. Now, enjoy what you do. I'm sure a lot of people, and we're getting somewhere now. So there are sometimes you'd have been, in a situation where at school or at work, there must have been something that make you say, I have had the best days in the last few months. There will be some indicator, all right, that makes you remember your last, in the last 3 months, what your day has been like. The best days in school or at work. At some point also, you're also able to define what you were doing, and that's, usually when I'm having this class, we do experiments and I ask you, can you remember a significant episode in your life from age 5? And people are able to, without any doubt, express with photographic memory, some things that struck their core, and they are able to say this and this happened. And by the time you probe deeply into why, you understand that that's the way we learn. And sometimes the things that either haunt us or the things that give us joy are the things that we somewhat remember. And notwithstanding other psychological, psychological inferences that must have happened either by being fearless, either by being restless, either by being curious. Particularly in Africa, we stigmatize. You bet you need to, yeah. Now, particularly in Africa, we stigmatize failure we stigmatize failure. And so we do not have people that are initiative driven. Societies that stigmatize failure make it difficult for people to try to succeed. And also that's one of the things that I do with helping individuals start. So imagine if, what's the name of that man that invented the bulb? Can we remember the name? Is there anybody able to help us with the name of the man that invented the bulb? Anybody? Anybody? Thomas Edison. Yes. Thomas Edison. Imagine Thomas Edison as an African, at the first attempt, they would probably have been laughing. By the 10th attempt, somebody will go there and go and slap him. That are you very stupid? Don't you know that this thing can amount to nothing? But that man was only for 10,000 trials. Can you beat that? So enough of stigmatizing failure. It's about time we start to appreciate that it's okay to fail, but do you learn from your failure? So what do you enjoy doing? And then by that is a clue, all right? It tends to leading you to what your strengths will be. But now let's go in, and we're getting deeper now. It's becoming more interesting. So talent, they are naturally recurring patterns of thought, feeling, or behavior that can be productively applied. Talents exist naturally within us. And I say that again, talents exist naturally within us. So you'll find out that in some cases, there are some things that you're already drawn to, so that this thing doesn't look too scientific, even though there's a body of knowledge around it, that there are some things that they naturally reoccur. There are patterns, some people have a flow. Some people have, a drive. But the reality is that until you begin to come into a state of awareness, the self-awareness, which leads to self-improvement, and at some point self-mastery, you would have missed it. So it's a conscious effort to say, what are those things that you are naturally drawn to, able to do effortlessly, all right? And so it exists naturally within us. And I just gave a bullet points of some of what reflects your talent, behavioral patterns that make you effective. So if you want to have a cue, that's one. Thought patterns that make you efficient, that's also an indicator. Beliefs that empower you to succeed. Some people have some belief. Yeah? There's even a belief strength, all right? Strong conviction as to this is what I need to make me succeed. Attitudes that sustain your efforts towards achievement and excellence. And then motivation that propels you to take action and maintain the energy needed to achieve any feat. So let's deal down with strengths. So strengths actually harmonizes all of talents in various clusters. So the Gallup methodology has come up with 34, themes of strengths, all right, which are a constellation or a compendium or a compilation of talents tucked into different, and we're going to get into that shortly. So what is a strength? The strength is the ability to consistently provide near perfect performance in any given activity. I don't want to start to talk about examples now. Let me just give out the theory and then we'll move on swiftly. And then 2, a strength enables, and equips you to do certain things very well. So once you start to see that you're doing certain things very well in some order, where you are getting near perfect, consistently near perfect performance in those given activities, that is a pointer to your strength. Strengths grow from a natural talent. So while they can be developed, they cannot be acquired. And I need you to note that strengths cannot be acquired. Strength, there's a difference between skills. There's also a difference between style. All right, so strengths are driven and are born out from natural talents. Remember the flow from talents, the cluster now into strengths. But then strengths are totally different from skills. And so for here, we will say the skills can be developed and acquired, but the strengths, all right, cannot be acquired. So what are skills? Skills, the ability to perform specific steps of an activity, and skills are required. So when we talk about playing to your strengths, and let me water this down now. Because when you ask people what are your strengths, they come up with all kinds of things. In the Gallup methodology and along the strengths methodology, there are clusters of what the strengths are. Okay, And so for strengths, you have those. I'm going to be talking about the 34 strengths, and those strengths are such that you have already. But if you know what your strengths are, and you are in a particular career or in a field, then you can develop the requisite skill, the skill set, all right, to also complement your strengths. And then we'll get into what we talk about talent investment, but I'm getting there shortly. So there's a distinguishing line between skills and also between strengths. Also knowledge, like I told you, the education of the education. So knowledge is intrinsic. Knowledge, facts, lessons learned in life. This also help, all right, to shape your outcomes and ensure that you get maximum or optimum results. So yes, this is what I was talking about. So strengths, you have talents, all right? That's a constellation, a compendium of talents, all right? And then what times investment? What will be the investment? You need to add skills. You need to add knowledge. You need to add effort. So remember, we talked about the 4 key cardinals to attaining success in any field. And we talked about the education of the education. We talked about the experience of the education. We talked about exposure about that field of education. And we talked about creating an environment for that education or that field to thrive. And so we said, how do you now build up your strength? Because this is very key. In fact, I would like to focus on this a bit more. So your talent, whatever is your talent, if you identify your strengths, because the strength methodology is you can actually do a test, an assessment, and I'm going to be sharing this with the team, and such that I'm also going to be availing you guys discounts, just so that I will bundle it up with at least an hour free coaching to help you navigate into your key area of expertise. So if you know your strengths, all right, and for you to be able to play at an exponential level, you might now have to add your skills, the skills that are required for you to move in that order, and then understand the knowledge of that area you are playing at. So it's not about, and the strength tools are not used for recruitment. I like to say that the strength tools are not used for recruitment. Because you can actually, once you know your strength, you can function in any field. And so based on what, there was a friend of mine that in this chat now was saying something about, he partly agrees with what Einstein talks about. What the strength methodology talks or focuses on is that, look, it's okay you're a janitor, but once you know your strength as a janitor, all right, why don't you now get the skills of being a janitor and then understand the knowledge and then start to apply effort? That's when you have invested in your talent. And it moves from a point of first an awareness of your strengths. You move on to the point of appreciation. That's where you get into self-improvement, all right? And then you move to the point of self-mastery, which leads to application. And once you start to apply your strength, you have started to experience exponential, and quantum results. So before the test, if you decide you want to be like that guy that goes to the mechanic with his car, cars right now are designed with brain boxes, all right? And the brain box is supposed to make it easy for you to discover or diagnose what is wrong with the car. So some people still rely on the old antics. They drive the car to the workshop, and then some guy, by virtue of experience, comes up and say, I'm getting one sound. Say, so I think it's the crankshaft, I think it's the plug, I think it's this. Without specificity, you could decide to live your life that way. And so I'm giving you the option A. This option A is, okay, what are the traces and evidence of my talent? Okay, I'm going back again to say, these are things that you do without even thinking. You can do them automatically. Or what do you have passion or yearning for? Ever since I can remember, there are some things that if they wake you up without even thinking, they naturally fall to you. What are those things also that you could naturally learn effortlessly, and you just get it in? Those are a pointer, all right, traces and evidences of your talents. And where have you felt happiest at, or when, and where do you have exceptional performance, and where do people compliment you? Say, great job. When I consult my clients, at some point when I'm talking to them, they just shut down like, wow, Taiwo, this I've never heard before. that's where I get compliments. People say, look, this is fantastic. Sometimes people call me the oracle. Why? Because I'm able to see things before they become obvious to others. All right. And so that gives me joy. That's a trace, all right, and evidence of my talent. So if you could rely on this, all right. But now, just because I know that this is a special class, so I don't think that I'm undermining your intelligence by telling you what a career is, all right. But it's just for the flow of this this discussion. So what is a career? The object of a person's ambition or effort, an aim or desire. So you must have a goal. And I'm sure everybody in this class has a goal. And 2021 is here. It's imperative that everybody has a goal. And goal setting is a powerful process for thinking about your ideal future and for motivating yourself to turn, all right, turn your vision of this future into reality. So you must turn that into some habit. You must build a behavioral pattern to sustaining your goals. And then competencies is about taking full advantage of this mindset. So imagine you know about your strengths and you are focusing towards a career. You can be rest assured that as you move in this order, somehow by some, not only by conspiracy of the elements or by the supernatural intervention or whatever your faith of belief is, but you would have started to walk in a path and to fulfilling or achieving your goals. So do you have a set goal? Do you have a destination in mind? Do you have a roadmap? Then can you use your strength, using your strength to achieve that? Am I making any sense? Am I communicating? It would be nice to know, has anybody lost me? Is everybody still here? Let me hear, I am here. Just type it, I am here. Just type, I am here. It would be nice to know that you are listening and you're setting, yes, correct. Yes, I love that. I love that. I love the fact that, yeah, Elizabeth, Efosa. Oh, yes. Beatrice, awesome, great. So let me proceed now. Oh, guess what? Abdul, oh, great. I love this class. Oh, you didn't tell me that this class was this vibrant. I'm just getting enough energy now. It looks as if I'm in somewhere in the heart of Accra, Ghana today. Okay, so let's run now. So have you set your goals? In setting your goals, with laser focus, have you set your parameters in place? Because that is only when you can begin to experience exponential results. Yes, so your strength is like your DNA. So one of the studies that we did was that 1 in 33 million people, all right, before you can see a similarity in your own particular type of strength, it will be 1 in 33 million people. So it's like your fingerprints, your thumbprints, your DNA. So strength has 4 domains, and those domains, let me quickly talk around those domains. So you might see that some people have strengths in executing flawlessly. You might see that some people have strengths in strategic thinking. You see that some people have strengths in influencing. You also see some people have strengths in relationship building. My top 5 strengths, all right, and I'm driven towards strategic thinking. My top 5 strengths are in this order. My first is strategic. My second is command, and that's where I always used to have issues, all right? And, the command strength is only supposed to be used when there's crisis or when people need to rise up and take firm decisions. But there was a time I did not know about this strength, and I always put the volume of my command strength on. And guess what? I suffered for it because I cultivated a lot of enemies. The third of my strengths is significance. So if you were talking to me, because I'm a business coach and a business strategist, if you're having an idea on how to take over Africa, you'll see that I'm easily drawn to you. But if you have an idea that you just want to fry the local fish or danku in somewhere in Ghana or Accra in Lagos, well, except you want to turn into a global franchise, I might not be interested. So that's one of my strengths, and that's not the weakness. It's okay to know that that's my strength, and so I have what we call significance. So I help people take their ideas from small, scale it, and then make it become big. And so it's not unusual that somehow we started the Phenomenal African Woman Foundation just from an idea. Already today, we're in 16 African countries. It's not unusual that we started the Startup Summit, and now we're growing even further. We're coming into Ghana. Next is Tunisia, and we're going all over Africa because my strength does not allow me to operate at the level of not mediocrity now, at a small level. So that's significance. The fourth is deliberateness. I have a keen approach, all right, to deliberate, and that's my executing strength. And we're going to get into that shortly. And thank you guys. I love this energy. So I love to deliberate. So when people tell me things, okay, what am I thinking, and that's what I use to execute. And the final one in my top 5 strengths, which I recommend that everyone should know, almost like the way I'm saying it, is the 5th one for me is learner. I learn, I keep learning. Not to boast, I've read several books. There was a time I used to put accounting. I must tell you, I've read a whole lot of books. In fact, let me just try and make this humorous, because I've said I like humor. I hear people say, Taiwo, you have no sense of humor. So usually when I travel, before now, when people are buying things for the family, the first thing I go and check, I go to the bookstore. So if I travel to any part of the world, the first place I visit before I buy a shirt or I buy anything for the family, I go straight into the bookstore. I say, what's new, what's cooking? And then for a long time, that was a major source of quarrel between my wife because she was like, you mean you did not buy anything and you bought all these books? I know books are heavy, so the bag weighs a lot. So you have to give the option of either carrying the clothes or you accept you take extra charges on the luggage. And sometimes I just wouldn't budge, and I leave the books alone. So that shows you my strength. I love to learn. And so if I didn't know about this strength, and someone would just say, hey, what's wrong with this guy? Are you the only one that knows how to read? Well, that's my strength. So knowing my strength now, I use my strength. I also use my strength of learning to apply into my strength of strategic thinking. So that way I'm able to hit exponential results. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's going to make sense now. It's going to make sense. So the first category, which I talked about the domain, is influencing. So there's the influencing domain where you have activator, command, communication, competition, maximizer, self-assurance, significance, and woo. This woo is winning others over. Let me also take this home. The first 5 years of my marriage was hell. Why? One of the things was the fact that I did not even understand the strength of my wife, and she did not understand my strength. So she had this woo as one of her strengths, winning others over. So she would greet the gatesman, greet the waiter, greet the restaurant owner, greet the family of the friends of the family at the restaurant, and we'll greet everybody. And I'll be asking myself, hey, what's going on? Is this woman going on a greeting journey? Because that is her strength. She has grace, and less with that, she also has communication. Even though I am able to communicate effectively, I've developed a skill in communication, but that is not my strength. So she went on that journey. So she has woo, winning others over. She's also an activator. So she with the way she is, if you tell her, hey, we need to set up a group, she's quick to get people to come on that group. I don't have those strengths and I don't have those skills. So somehow I learned those skills to help my work, but I don't have it as a strength. Now, can you reconcile those two? I have strategic, I have command, yet my wife has what we call communication. She has woo, an activator, and we were working at cross purposes until we came to knowing our strengths. And knowing our strengths enabled us to be able to, play effectively to our strength. And we're constantly, improving on this bit. There's also the executing domain. So there you notice that some people are executionists. They know how to execute flawlessly. And these are some of the strengths that display execution. They are achievers. They have their ranger strength. They have strong belief. They are consistent, deliberative. That I use the deliberative as my thought. They have discipline. They have focus, laser focus. They have responsibility and restorative. And that's for the executing domain. There's the relationship building domain. People in this space, you'll be surprised they make friends. They have what you call the adaptability strengths. They are developer. They connect easily. They have empathy. They have harmony. They are includers. Harmony in the sense that they don't like trouble. They don't cause any trouble. And then you'll be wondering, why are you so gentle? What's wrong with you? They like to include everybody. I know some people just like to exclude everybody. Relationship building, you have some people that love individualization. In those people that operate at that level, they're able to, personalize their service, all right, to experience exponential results. Then positivity. So even in the midst of the pandemic, notwithstanding, or financial meltdown or crisis, some people are naturally positive. They have a positive energy, and that indeed is a strength. And then there are some that have the relator strength. And finally, the fourth domain. We talked about the influencing domain. We talked about the executing domain. We talked about the relationship building domain. And now we get to the strategic thinking domain. And in this strategic thinking domain, there are only two that I do not have in my top 20, the analytical and the content, and futuristic. Ideation, I have ideation, right? Because I help people ideate their ideas. I incubate these ideas and I begin to help them implement. All right. So you see how I'm playing to my strength, because with this, I've been able to also define my area of influence. Almost like the fish, I'm not now trying to learn how to climb a tree. I'm not trying to become a doctor. I'm not trying to, because I know my strength. I'm playing to my strength and I'm getting great joy. Remember, the definition of happiness is that happiness is into doing, or success is into what makes you happy. The key to happiness, the key to success is having happiness. Happiness is key to everything that we do, and that's the driver towards success. So this is like a matrix of some sort to say, look, how do you find and develop your strength? So some, like I've said, some people are in that space where they haven't discovered their strengths and they haven't developed their strengths. All right, so you find out that they will struggle. So I was trying to use an example of someone that is a graphic artist. If the guy has not developed his strength, all right, he has not discovered his strength, he will still just be an average graphic artist, all right? But remember, if he moves to the point where he discovers his strength, he at least has an awareness and he says, okay, how can I use my strength as almost like, let's say I had my strength as a graphic artist now. I say, how do I apply my strategic options, all right, my command abilities to be able to play my part to becoming the best graphic artist? I've discovered my strength. But that's not sufficient. It's okay, you graduate to the point where you begin to improve yourself, understand the skills that need to be done. So you move to the level where you have discovered and you develop your strength. And that is the point of appreciation. You have discovered and you have started to develop your strength. So in that point, that's also another category I put there. Some people like to meet people, some don't like to, then you move to the fourth, because I love you to constantly be in the third box, that you constantly have discovered and developed, constantly have discovered and developed. So you're constantly developing, because sometimes you always spill over to the undiscovered, developed. So you must also always come back to discovered, developed. So it's almost like that thing of incompetence, competent, incompetent. Is it competence? Okay, so there's this thing about competency levels, all right? So you come to the point of an awareness of your competency, almost like that's what promotion is about. Once you get a promotion, they usually promote you to a level of incompetence. And then you get there, you know everything afterwards, and then you have to move again to another level of incompetence. And for the HR, yes, I know Elizabeth has an insight on that, and she probably can attest to that. Yes, so I'm sure people are saying, hey, what about weaknesses? I've told you, focusing on your weaknesses is focusing on not failing. And that should not be the objective of any assignment. It shouldn't be the objective of any assignment. When we focus too much on our deficiencies, even though sometimes you don't have much of, or you don't do well at, you will probably just be playing as a mediocre. All right. There's also the bit of over-reliance, too much of it on a good thing, when you over-rely on one particular strength. I told you when I was, my strength of command almost became a weakness, because I turned on the volume of my command, and if I get into a meeting, I'm always commanding. If I get into a meeting, I always want to take charge. If I get into a meeting, I always have an idea. And remember, I have strategy. So I'm always having solutions and options. But I was quick to offer those solutions, and I didn't know that I was creating enemies, because sometimes people will say, hey, I too know. There's what we call in Nigeria, I too know, ITK. Because I'm working with my strength of strategy. I'm working with my strength of deliberacy. I'm working as a learner. And then imagine I'm applying my strength of command. So always I had solutions, I had ideas. And because I did not know how to play to my strength, it became a weakness of some sort because I over-relied on that strength. So our strengths, our weaknesses are most often our strengths when they are out of control, or perhaps more correctly, our weaknesses are most often one of our strengths in control. When the situation calls for us to be flexible, all right, or flexibility or adaptability, we use different strengths. So you see what I'm talking about? So you don't necessarily have to have strategy. You can have a bit of your strength and know how to apply it to achieve whatever results you want to achieve. So I just give a few tips to manage your weaknesses. Don't go about saying I must work on my weaknesses by all means. You must be able to make small improvements, almost like creating or recreating yourself, reinventing yourself. You must look for support mechanism. No man is an island. You must understand that your talents are superior to your weaknesses. So don't get falling down or don't get into a despondent situation thinking that you must work on your weakness. You must work on, no. Focus on your talent. Your talent is superior. And then find others with complementary talents. All right. So it could be in this room. There are some people that are good with relationship building. I have a poor relationship building strength. I'm poor on relationship building. But what I try to do, I have a way that I work with complementary talents, all right, or even with individuals to ensure that that gap is dealt with. And I practice flexibility. And that's it. So whether you're a graduate, whether you're a career-focused individual, you must, all right, constantly begin to ask yourself questions, all right, to say, how do I go on this journey? What are the talents you think you'll be most crucial to success as a graduate or a career person? You must start to think, because once you do this test, you're able to pick, all right, and see how you're going to whip this, conveniently to helping you achieve great feats. And you want to begin to ask yourself, how do you put this to conscious effort? Guys, I must say something. Comparison is the thief of joy. Don't be comparing yourself with any other person. You are purpose-built, you are uniquely gifted, and you have your talent. And if you understand your talent, if you're a sweeper, you're going to be the best sweeper that ever lived. So let's talk about the future versus functionality. Things have morphed over time. Life is changing. Imagine the typewriter, the era where the typewriter was king. And then you have to learn shorthand, all right, shorthand, and learn how to type. But I can tell you today, people don't have to go through that rigor. So why focus on learning how to type when you can develop your strengths, all right? So like I said, your skills will constantly change. Skills will change in line with career, in line with the future. In this new world order, the focus should not only be on your skill development, but you must be futuristic as to how do you become functional with your strength. I have some remedies here. So based on extensive study, I narrowed it down to these 10 essential skills. You must up your reading skills. You must up your document use skills. You must up your numeracy skills. You must up your writing skills. You must up your oral communication. Now, this is slightly different from communication as a strength. This is a skill. You must up your working with others. Relationship building, notwithstanding, you must constantly understand that the world is all about being gregarious in nature, and then we must interact. No man is an island. Then there's room for continuous improvement. And that's why I salute the organizers of this event. This gives room for continuous conscious learning. And that's one of the essential skills in this new world order. Then up your thinking skill, because the guy that will not think is a guy that will sink, will sin, and will stink. And I'm going to say that again. If you're not thinking, all right, you're probably just now starting your journey to sinning. You're starting your journey to start to sink. And then you're starting your journey after you drown, you start to stink. So guess what? Start thinking. And let me operationalize this. So if you don't understand that thinking is one of the most essential skills, and thinking cannot be equated with worry, even though that has been the problem with Africa. So Africa, particularly I can talk for Nigeria, a typical African or in Nigeria, we see chicken, a chicken, all right, a fowl, a chicken, and the first thing that comes to mind is I can make pepper soup or barbecue out of this chicken. Whereas in other climes, when they apply thinking, one of the things that comes to mind is that how is this bird not able to fly? How can I operationalize the law of aerodynamics? You see the difference? You get into a store or you get into a market, you find out that the grinding machine has been that same way since perpetuity, even before I was born. So like there's a grinding machine in Africa, in particular in Nigeria, you see it's blue or green, and it's usually in the market to grind pepper. It has been like that since before I was born, all right? And it has not changed. But I can tell you, every time you go into a mall and you ask for a blender, you would never see the same blender in the same way, in the same shape, because they always come up with new models and they keep reducing it so that it becomes compact. Remember the big mainframe computers, and now today we have laptops and they're becoming smaller. Remember the phones that used to be very big, now they are becoming smaller. So can we start to think, all right? Then another thing that you must take with you on this journey is your computer skills. Know yourself, and that's what I've been saying since morning. Know yourself, explore possibilities, and make the right choices. Because see, look, life avails us choices, and it's those choices that we make that truly will get us on the journey. So I say, take action, take action. And almost like this great quote, it says that the longest journey begins with a single step. My final thoughts, guys, my final thoughts is that it's the doing that gets the job done. So some guys have listened to us today. Some would put it aside and postpone it for another day. Some will say, look, Taiwo, I need to take this test. Please, Rachel, can you organize for this test to be taken? Some will come on and say, look, I need to be coached. And yeah, you have this strength, the business strategist, using and applying his strength to help you achieve exponential results. So it's those guys that will go on that journey. It's those guys that are able to say, I'm willing, I'm ready, and I'm excited, I will get the job done. So if you're not in that category, I must announce to you that you have actually started to fail, all right, even from this instant. So guys, sign up, sign up, sign up. So these are my details. And I'm very strong on social media. It would be nice to have you follow me. My Instagram handle is TIZ Adepoju, TIZADEPOJU. You could copy it out, and can somebody help me type that up? So I hope that everybody on this class or in this class is following me right away on the Instagram, on Twitter, and then that's my phone number. And I'm sure. So can we have a volunteer? Take that on. Somebody should take that on and just and just share with the team. Is there somebody typing out this? Okay, if it's not important, then well, let's leave it as it is. And my job for this season is done. Rachel is not there, but Elizabeth, I'm done. I'm saying play to your strength, play to your strength. So question and answers before this becomes a talk show.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. The contacts are definitely important. Guys, Rachel just dropped the Instagram handle. I just also dropped the email address. So, and those that want to take screenshots, please do. And yes, great. So that's the IG, and I've sent the email. I am trying to get the, yes, great. I'm trying to get the Facebook link itself so you can go directly. But guys, I'm saying all this to say that it's time for questions and answers. If you have any question, kindly type it out on the chat box. Let's do this quick so you can get the most of today's session. Thank you so much, Taiwo. Okay, I think whilst we are waiting for some questions, I really love the positive perspective of the Gallup theory. I mean, the fact that we have to focus on our strength so we can succeed, not on our weakness, so we can not fail. Because indeed, I feel like there are more errors of omission than errors of commission. Errors that come because we don't try to do things than the ones that come because we do things. And on that note, what would you say is the responsibility of coaches when it comes to helping people develop their strength? Do you think strength is something that can be, okay, so you mentioned that you know what it means not to know your strength and what it means to know your strength. Do you think everybody needs coaching in order to know their strength, or people can just know their strength out of the blues.
Okay, so and I don't know the coloration of the people here in terms of their faith, but across all levels, all right, or across all levels, you must have a guide. And let me not even use the word coach. You must have a guide. And so whatever you are doing, it's almost like one day I came into the understanding of, and I'm going to share two things around my two discoveries recently. So one of those days I was taking a walk, and I realized that, isn't it funny that when you want to learn how to drive, you have to go to a driving school. But not all people, not all persons go, not all individuals go to the driving school, right? But there are consequences when they don't go to the driving school. Now, if you're one of those that will go to a driving school, one thing happens is that once you have that learner sign, you can drive anyhow, provided you have somebody sitting beside you. Did you get that? It will not be an offense.
Yeah.
If mistakenly you made a mistake, or they would assume that is a learner because you have a guide beside you. So you will not be directly held responsible for the aftermath of any mistake. But guess what? The day you don't have someone beside you on that journey and you have the L sign, you can be arrested. All right. And that's consistent with life also. Why can't we? All right. We go for learn how to drive a car, not to drive our life. And then you think you don't need the guy. Or you want to start a business. You think, oh, yes, I want to start a business. I can read it. I can read about it. Go ahead and read about it. But I can tell you, you are most likely going to make errors. So why don't you avoid those errors and lean on the experiences of those that have failed? So guess what? I didn't just happen by happenstance. I failed several in various ventures. Also, I had to pay my price for, and then now I'm able to guide people, all right, sufficiently well to say, hey, don't do this. Why don't you try this? There are many ways to kill a rat without shedding blood. There are many ways to start a business. So somebody is asking me, what are those 5 things that must be consistent on as a starter? There's content, there's capacity, there's confidence, there's character, all right, and then there's continuous improvement. But that's not what we're here for. But I hope that drops. I hope I answered you in that. The second thing, which I talked about in my discovery as to why you need a guide, is that, do you know life is in the methods and principles? All right. The hallmark of everything we do in life is on methods and principles. So guess what? When I was young, my teachers, they taught me right. 8 o'clock is the time for school. Never be late in the morning. 8 o'clock is the time for school. Come to school in the morning. I didn't know they were preparing me for the industrial age, because guess what? As I moved on from primary school to secondary school, it was 8 o'clock. From there to the university, yes, skeletal up and down, but 8 o'clock. Then work life, 8 o'clock. All right. Now, in that my era, it was important that people resumed at 8 or 9, whatever it is. It was just a sign that you needed to rise up early and get there early. So life was about methods. And that same principle, if you delve into it, you realize that, how do you pass an exam? You pass an exam by starting with 8 o'clock or starting first with an assignment. Then if you want to move on, they do a test. Then they will not have the final exam. So it's all a queue, all right? Life is all about steps, precept upon precept towards the final destination. So until you understand this fundamental, that life is about methods, understanding the methods, you cannot attain success. But the only way you can sustain that success is understanding the principle, the why. So one of the things a coach will help you with, and I have helped people discover their why, is that, look, it's okay to know what you're doing and get done, all right? And that way, you are always going to be guaranteed a job. You can get a certificate. You could become a doctor. But why do you want to become a doctor? And that's where purpose comes in. And that's the why. And that's in the principle. So guys, I hope I've not confused you even at this stage. And I hope that you are interested and you will be geared towards seeking the help of a guy, a coach, or a mentor. Thank you.
Definitely. Thank you so much. Guys, any more questions? Any more questions? Foster, I hope your question has been answered also. Yes, so Sir Taiwo spoke about, you mentioned the free 1 hour coaching.
Yes, please.
Can you tell us a bit more, just
Once
to
you
refresh
do your
those people
test.
that probably didn't hear it? Okay, so we
Okay,
have to
so
do
I said,
this.
look, once you do your top 5 strengths, your top 5 strengths, the assessment test is about $20. All right. If you buy through me, I can give you a discount, maybe about $2. But now that's not it. I'm giving you icing on the cake. You know, I'm one of the 12 Gallup strength coaches in West Africa. And you could Google that also. The Google strength coaches. We have a few of them also in Ghana. So if you're in Ghana, you can also get a strength coach in Ghana and anywhere. But I can tell you without a doubt, using my own strength, I use my strength to coach people to attaining their top potentials and also experiencing exponential results. So guess what? If you do your top 5 assessment tests through us, my people will queue you up for a 1 hour that will change the course of your life. Ultimately, a 1 hour session that will give you clarity, a 1 hour session that will alter the dimension and change you from being a chicken. Then you can start to become an eagle. That 1 hour, I can tell you without a doubt, will change your life. People attest to that. And so set yourself up for greatness and get to start contacting us, and let's get this going.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Guys, I assume that we don't have any more questions. And we would further share these links again on our platforms. But if you are here, I think it's best to just get the link right now. And let's continue this network with Mr. Taiwo Adepoju. If you are not a member of GYLCD, we mentioned that we do this every week. So try to, you can fill that form so we can get your details, and you'll be prompted each week as we have new speakers and new topics. On that note, would like to say on behalf of the entire GYLCD team, on behalf of the leadership. Yes, please.
Elizabeth.
Yes,
I
please.
said something. It would be nice if we could take a group photo. So I don't know if yeah. So can we all put on our pictures, just for this sake only, so that we could screenshot and
I hope we are going to do that.
Scared, okay, if you can, then okay, then go ahead, because I see some people are already jittery. But it would be nice to have everybody. Yeah, Boris, thank you. I see Boris. All right. Where's Amina? Where's Efosa? These are the great students. Where's Beatrice? All right. Where are you guys? Let's see your face. Okay, Rachel, yes. Awesome. Elizabeth, I see you. Elizabeth, yes, correct. Waller, I see you. Okay, something is happening here now. We would like to change the game. Samuel, we're waiting for you. Efosa, Beatrice, Amina, where are you? Okay, so 1 more minute and then we just take the screenshot. Elizabeth, you're familiar with taking screenshots, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Yahuza, I see you. Great. I see you full screen. So gallery view. Let us take this further.
Yeah.
Okay, so ready when you are. Can we all say cheers? Cheers to all right. I hope it's been a wonderful experience. Thank you so much for having me. God bless.
It is. Thank you so much. Thank you so much too. I mean, I'm sure. Sorry.
Voila.
Okay. Yes, I'm sure we all had a wonderful. This has been one of the most interactive sessions we've had. And I think the session that has also made 10 on my account. Thank you so much. I think, in fact, you did bring out the best in us today. And guys, I just launched the poll. I am trying to. I'm hoping you can hear me now. Yes. So I was saying that this has indeed been a wonderful session, one of the best we've had. Usually don't turn on my camera. You brought the best out of us, and we turned on our camera. And I'm hoping we all learned so much. I learned exceedingly abundantly. And we want to say God richly bless you. And we want to say that continue to do the good things that you do. We want to say that we will continue with it. We will definitely connect and we'll get our 3-hour coaching. And on this note, guys, if you can quickly fill the polls. We are already at the tail end of today's session. Sure that next week is going to come with full of power, something full of grace, something full of more inspiration. We have just gotten a very good hint, a very good start for a new month. And make sure that if not for anything else, make sure that February is a month of self-discovery, a month where you play with your strength. Okay, so I'm just trying to stylishly wait for a few more people to fill the poll, and we would end the session. The recording will be shared next week. We're already in next week, technically, anytime from tomorrow. So that's also the more reason why you should register, so we get your details, just in case you have not been added to any of our pages. And feel free to follow GY LCD on social media. We are on Twitter, we are on Facebook, and we are on LinkedIn. Great. On that note, guys, thank you so much. See you all next week. Thank you so much, Sir Taiwo. Have a wonderful week and a wonderful new month. Shalom.
Bye.
Oh, I didn't know biscuits.